Hey, what's up and how's it going, everyone? Well, I am so glad that you have took your time to spend with me right here today on the MRB Wrestling Review Show. I'm your co-host, Mike Big Rock Wilson, and last night was WWE Monday Night Raw from St. Louis, Missouri. The show kicked off when the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, came out and addressed the Hell in a Cell match upcoming in just a couple of weeks. He mentioned that he doesn't like Randy Orton. He trained Daniel Bryan. He has a personal relationship with Triple H. I got a feeling that somewhere down the line that there's going to be that special confrontation between Triple H and the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and it's going to be one of those interesting plot points to this story involving Daniel Bryan and Shawn Michaels to see that dynamic. And we haven't seen that dynamic just yet. We haven't seen the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and Daniel Bryan with a dialogue face-to-face. But what we did see last night was Randy Orton interrupting Shawn Michaels and how he mentioned that he will be the one to come out victorious in this match. He was the guy that Shawn Michaels said that he doesn't like, so, it's cliched for Randy Orton to come out. And even though this first segment was cliched as hell, nothing special, nothing out of the ordinary came out of it, it was still a good, solid promo from both guys. I thought that Randy Orton on the microphone last night was actually better than some weeks that he has been on the microphone. So hope this keeps up with Randy Orton. I don't know if he'll be the guy to have the title, only because he's been suspended a couple of times. So I don't know if WWE is going to take that chance for Randy Orton to have that belt again. So I think I'm leaning towards Daniel Bryan, and the other part of that is Shawn Michaels training Daniel Bryan as well. I think that, like Edge, when he came in helping out Daniel Bryan, this will be the case as well with Shawn Michaels. And shortly after Randy Orton tried to attack Shawn Michaels and Shawn Michaels tried to attack Randy Orton, we saw The Miz come out and attack Randy Orton from behind. And I missed The Miz, the snarly guy I can't stand. I really missed that guy, and I think we only got just a little bit of a taste of it. He attacked someone from behind. It could possibly, foreshadow a heel turn, I hope. And after that, we saw the two of them go one-on-one. And what I really like is that Randy Orton was great when it came to really punishing The Miz. And The Miz looked really good taking the punishments. So all in all, it was actually a decent match between Randy Orton and The Miz. And what happened at the end was that when The Miz almost had the match won, the Wyatt family interrupted and caused The Miz the match. And we saw Bray Wyatt cut a little promo. And what I like about Bray Wyatt's promos is that he always has a bit of truth behind his promos. He talked about, fame and glory, selling your soul to the devil about The Miz, stuff like that beyond his nature. And the only thing I don't like is that they're targeting The Miz. I know I mentioned this before. I wish that the Wyatt family would target guys that are weirder and bigger, guys like Kane, Undertaker, Mick Foley, or even The Big Show, or possibly the Great Khali. Guys like that. But at least it gives something for The Miz to do, because let's face it, the Miz needs something to, keep interest. I don't know if putting him involved with the Wyatt family is the right way to go. I wish they'd do something better, not only with The Miz, but with the Wyatt family as well. So it's a lose-lose situation on both parties going into this rivalry. Also, we saw Los Matadores away. And they were in a tag team match against 3MB, and they were victorious. And the only thing I wish would happen right now is that the Los Matadores would take away from this whole thing and not face 3MB anymore, because they've faced them for like what it feels like the millionth time. So I think they should move past 3MB, which also leads to a possible feud for Los Matadores, which I'll get to in a bit. Also, we saw Triple H and Stephanie McMahon addressing what happened last week when the Big Show knocked out Triple H. It was a great ending to Monday Night Raw from last week. And this week, it also did, and I'll also get to that later on. And what happened was that Triple H and Stephanie are going to press charges on the Big Show for assault and trespassing. Of course, right? This is all about the story, is cliched as hell. And the only thing I wish for happen is that this story is not cliched. But also in the same time, have these cliche moments, but make them work well. So either or, I'm good for anything that happened to good coming out of this story. And what I really like about that segment was that Triple H was really intense on the microphone when he went into his deep voice, saying that you will see something you've never seen before. And I was wondering what he would mean by that, and we'll probably get to see it eventually. I don't know if he was foreshadowing what happened at the end of the show or something that's going to take place at Hell in a Cell, but we'll see what happens, what Triple H may be talking about. And after that, Daniel Bryan comes out and interrupts Steph and Triple H, and then gets attacked by Alberto Del Rio. It kind of, plays on the cliche of it happened at the beginning of the show with The Miz and Randy Orton. So, it's kind of a bit of an overkill to do that twice, because we already saw it on the show. So, I thought that, it's WWE logic. So, with that being said, what happened was that those two had a match later on, and I'll get to that as well. Ryback, Brad Maddox, we saw him backstage with Paul Heyman, and he mentioned that at Hell in a Cell, it's going to be CM Punk versus Ryback. Now, if there's going to be a Beat the Clock challenge, and the stipulation goes to the winner. Here's the thing. WWE logic once again. The title of the pay-per-view is called Hell in a Cell, so let's just make this a Hell in a Cell match because that's the name of the pay-per-view, right? Of course. So, what happened was that Ryback went one-on-one with R-Truth. And what I like about it is that, we haven't seen this Beat the Clock challenge for quite some time, so it's pretty cool we saw this again. It's one of those stipulations that, that you shouldn't overkill, like the ladder matches and the Hell in a Cell and the TLC matches, only have them on special occasions. And that was one of those situations as well with the Beat the Clock challenge. And what I like is that at the closing moments of that match, we saw Ryback go for the shell shock and ended the match pretty quickly. Even though it was a 5-minute and 44-second match, I still think Ryback could have ended that match at any time. So with that being said, he never really stacked the bar really high, just, close enough. Probably just to fill in some of the other stuff that happened on Raw. Also, we saw Tons of Funk taking on the Real Americans. And I mentioned Los Matadores, before. And we saw Zeb Coulter having words about, the reboot of Primo and Epico. And so we see this rivalry forming before these teams interact. And I like that because, it gives you something to look forward to next week on Raw if something does happen between the Real Americans and Los Matadores. And during this match, the Tons of Funk and Real Americans, Antonio Cesaro, absolutely, I don't know where he gets his strength. The first he lays the neutralizer on Brodus Clay, and if that's not enough, he giant swings Tensai. How strong is this guy? He's excellent. I think, really, I know I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. They really should push Cesaro away from the Real Americans, have him do a solo gig, go for a main championship, and the reality of it is that, you're in WWE to be the main champion. It's a very singles-driven company, so I think, it would be a good thing for Antonio Cesaro to push him away from the tag team of the Real Americans and push him as a singles competitor. I think that would be the right way to go. Even for Jack Swagger as well. I know he's not, the greatest of the two in the Real Americans, but I think that, Jack Swagger as well should also get something to work for as well. Also, last night we saw Brie Bella go one-on-one with Tamina, with AJ Lee at ringside, and I thought that the most interesting aspect of that match was AJ Lee at ringside literally talking to her title, and I thought that was more entertaining than the match itself for some weird reason. And with that being said, Tamina won the match, and it seems like that they're treating Brie Bella now as the Daniel Bryan of the Divas division, playing the underdog, trying to climb a mountain of Tamina and then the champion AJ Lee. It's WWE logic. I said it before and I'll say it again. And I think that, I don't know if this is the right way to go for Brie Bella, as well as putting her in that storyline between her and Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. What happened was that Randy Orton tried to attack, Brie Bella, only to set a trap for Daniel Bryan, which is all well and good. It's just that involving Brie Bella in that situation is not something that will benefit from this match going into Hell in a Cell. But what can you do, right? And also we saw the other Money in the Bank briefcase. Also we saw the other Beat the Clock match. It was CM Punk versus Curtis Axel. And I thought that the match was good up until the last few seconds of the match, where CM Punk hits to go to sleep. I thought that moment was the most suspenseful moment because, you had that little bit of doubt if CM Punk would make it to go for the cover on Curtis Axel, and of course he did. He had plenty of time. He had 11 seconds left on the clock. I think what they could have done was that really made it down to the wire and leave it to that 1 second. I thought that could have created a little bit more suspense, but I like how they, they could have used that 10 seconds. That's the thing. It's not a situation where, we're going to have to edit this out, we're going to chop this up, we're going to drag this out more. No, I think they could have used that 10 seconds to have created that more suspense for that match. And that's the only nitpicking thing I would probably, recommend for that match. But overall, I thought that was a good way to go. And of course, CM Punk, cliched as hell, made the stipulation. What I like is that he, played on the pay-per-view as well. It's going to be a Hell in a Cell match. CM Punk versus Ryback and Paul Heyman. I think this will be the be-all, end-all match. I think this will be the end of this rivalry, I hope, because Paul Heyman is in that situation that he can't get out of. So with that being said, CM Punk is the guy I think will finally nail the go to sleep on Paul Heyman going into Hell in a Cell, and hopefully he gets put in the championship match, maybe going into Survivor Series. Also, we saw Daniel Bryan go one-on-one with Alberto Del Rio. I know I mentioned the result of that after, because Alberto Del Rio won via countout. And here's the interesting thing. Going into this match, I was thinking, okay, if Alberto Del Rio loses this match, he has no momentum going into Hell in a Cell. If Daniel Bryan lost the match, by pinfall or submission, he would also lose momentum going into Hell in a Cell. So I think what they done was the right way to go, because none of those guys really didn't deserve to lose momentum. So having that count-out victory for Alberto Del Rio when Daniel Bryan saw Randy Orton up on the Titantron going into Brie Bella's locker room, I thought that was the best way to end that match. And the main event was The Shield, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, defending their tag team titles against Cody Rhodes and Goldust. I thought that was one of the most excellent matches I've seen on any Raw episode. I thought, having a tag team title match as the last match was surprising, to say the least. I thought that was a great way. John Cena, please don't come back, because the show is looking great right now. I think if John Cena comes back now, he's spoiling, the other competitors that really deserve a push. And I think with John Cena returning so soon, I think that's gonna leave those guys that are being pushed on the sidelines, because it's John Cena that's returning. That's the only thing I really don't like about going into Hell in a Cell. But going back to the main event, absolutely. That was a great match to end the show. Triple H backstage told The Shield, the gloves are off, finish it. And I'm thinking, this is the last match for a reason. Why is this happening as the last match on the main event? We got our answer when the Big Show came out and just cleaned house. What happened was that Big Show appeared from the crowd and just destroyed every single member of the Shield. And the fans won that night. Their reaction to it was absolutely amazing. And what happened was that Triple H's plan backfired. He wanted the Shield to win. He made the match no disqualification. And I think that the ending of that match was the right way to go. Big Show coming out and attacking the Shield. Cody Rhodes capitalizes, goes for the win. We have new tag team champions. And I like that, they're having the tag team titles being defended on Raw as opposed to Hell in a Cell, because, the WWE wants to draw on the Hell in a Cell matches as opposed to other matches. So I like that this match happened on Raw as the main event on Raw, which was, like I said, very surprising. And what a great outcome. I thought that outcome itself, hands down, 10 out of 10. And is Vince McMahon behind this Big Show involvement? That's probably the way the WWE is heading. That storyline direction will probably be, the way that they're going. And there you have it. What a great ending to Monday Night Raw. I'm your co-host for the MRB Wrestling Review Show, Mike McRock Wilson. To all you viewers watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.